Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to do another kind of Nordic cocktail, I guess you could say. So this beer is half Danish, half Swedish. It's another one from Evil Twin's sort of, I guess you could call it the Lemonade series, and this is one that we got through the small partiers here in Sweden on the 17th of August. So this beer is another collaboration that they did with Omnipollo, of course, one of the gypsy breweries from Stockholm in Sweden. It's called Rainbownade and it comes in at 7% ABV, if I remember rightly. Yep, 7% ABV, and this one's described as an India Pale Ale with grapefruit, passion fruit, mango, raspberry and blueberry. So should be a really interesting one. I did quite enjoy the pink lemonade and the original lemonade one that they had as well in this series, so I'm really interested to see how this one turns out. And you know, one thing with this one, I'm not really sure when you draw that line and say, yeah, this is an IPA, but then, you know, this one in fact is a fruit beer. So this one I think will be one of these beers that very much kind of straddles that border, if you like. But definitely interested to try it, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this one. So anyway, as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about both the breweries involved here. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery websites, the link to my other reviews that I've done, both from Evil Twin and from Omnipollo. No doubt I'll add some more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for a beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there both for the Danish beers that I've reviewed for you and another one for the Swedish ones. This beer will appear in both of those, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, on to my brewery notes then. So let's kick off with Evil Twin. So, as I've told you before, Evil Twin is a Danish gypsy brewery that was founded by Jeppe Jarnik Bjergso, who is of course the twin brother of Mikkel Bjergso, the big boss over at Mikkeller. But they were founded back in 2010, and it was largely inspired by the lack of craft beer in Denmark at the time. So Jeppe began homebrewing in the same beer group that gave birth to the Mikkeller brewery, and he went on to found his own beer shop in the city, which is called Ølbutikken, and that is actually still open today. It's not too far away from Warpigs actually, and the original Mikkeller bar. But he actually started his own import business which was attached to the shop, and this was used to bring American beers into Denmark while sending Danish beers the other way. This one used to export a lot of the early Mikkeller beers and Evil Twin beers and things like that all out to the States, which proved to be very, very popular of course as well. But Jeppe started an import deal, or signed an import deal rather, with 12% imports to send his beer over to America, and he moved out there in 2012 and based the company's head office in Brooklyn in New York. And most of their beer is brewed at a variety of host institutions. They brew quite a bit of stuff in Denmark these days as well, from what I gather, but most of their beer, if I'm remembering correctly, if it says on here, a lot of it is brewed up in Boston, in Massachusetts. This one's brewed at the Dorchester Brewing Company. There used to be another one. I'm sure it was 21 Cents Brewery that was brewed up in Connecticut or Vermont or something like that. They brew most of their beers in New England, from what I gather. Evil Twin, but they're doing a lot of different things. Some of their beers are actually brewed under license by, I want to say it's Popel's Brewery as well. One of the big stouts that they do is brewed by Popel's Brewery, and I think maybe there's one or two of them done at Dugas Brewery as well. Dugas brew the Omnipollo stouts and things like that as well, but they're a very interesting brewery. I think they do brew some things at the Proefbrouwerij at Lochristenhoofd near Ghent in Belgium as well, but these guys are one of the original kind of Danish gypsy breweries, if you like, although I guess you can say they are part American. But they always do some really interesting stuff. They're getting more and more prolific these days, I've found. There's more and more different beers coming out from Evil Twin. They really seem to have signed a lot of new deals, and they're getting a lot of new beer out there. So if you are interested in Danish craft beer, I guess Evil Twin is one that you definitely want to check out. In this Lemonade series, particularly if you're into fruit beers, and I guess probably sour beers as well, this Rainbow series, the Lemonade series is one that you definitely want to check out. But that's all you really need to know about them just now. If you want to learn a little bit more, check out the brewery website in the description below, and you can follow them on Facebook to keep up to date with all the different things going on at the brewery. So anyway, on to the Swedish side of the brewery then, on to Omnipollo. So Omnipollo was founded back in 2011 by Henrik Fente, who was a long-time homebrewer. I believe he's actually from Ethiopia originally, and also Carl Grandin, who is a clothing designer. But the two met one day and they decided to start a brewery together after they were discussing how kind of insular the craft beer scene was in Sweden and further afield in Europe. But they said they wanted to basically reinvigorate the beer scene in Sweden from both a kind of stylistic perspective but also from a gastronomic perspective as well. So they felt that this kind of partnership between a home brewer and a designer was actually very, very logical. So the name Omnipollo comes from omnipotent chicken, pollo of course Spanish for chicken, but they're gypsy brewers, so they've got no brewery of their own, and as a result of this they use a lot of spare capacity, if you like, at other breweries. I think a number of their beers are brewed at the Dugas Brewery, which is just outside of Gothenburg. They do a lot of their stouts there, and I think a few of the other ones, most of the IPAs and stuff like that, are brewed down in Belgium. The Nebuchadnezzar, I think, of course, and the Leon and stuff like that, which are their big volume beers, are brewed at the Prof Brewery at Locrista Hefte in Ghent in Belgium. A very, very modern facility that, but they brew many collaboration beers as a result of this, such as things with Evil Twin, but they've brewed things with Trillium and a whole host of other breweries as well, which is really cool. But they're currently exporting to somewhere around 30 or 40 different countries, and they're constantly expanding. They've also got their Omnipollo's Hat Bar in Stockholm, which I guess you could say is their home base. That's a collaboration with Pizza Hut, and it is really, really quite good. It's in the southern part of Stockholm, and it's somewhere that you really want to check out. They've always got their beers on there that are really quite fresh, and the pizzas, I have to say, are really quite good as well. So Omnipollo, probably one of the best known Swedish craft breweries these days. They're one of the ones that have really kind of got their name out there, but they do a lot of things like brewing beers with flavour essence and stuff like that, so they experiment a lot, I guess you could say, with adjunct brewing, but definitely an interesting brewery. They're very good at brewing the pure type beers as well, the Nebuchadnezzar, and I think it was either called Between the Lines or Inside the Lines, a collaboration they did with Trillium, which was a very kind of straight up imperial stout. They're very good at their straight up beers, and it's a whole kind of, there are some people that are purists that say you shouldn't really do this, but Omnipollo really have refined that art. So they like it's an art in itself, kind of brewing with adjuncts and things like that, and these flavour essences and stuff. And Omnipollo, you know, their beers are pretty good. So in terms of Swedish craft beer, I would recommend that you check out Omnipollo if you get the chance. But again, that's all you need to know about them. If you want to follow them on Facebook, you'll keep up to date with all the latest beers and things like that, and you can check out their website as well, where they've got a nice list of all the beers, and of course the brewery labels and stuff, which are designed by Carl Grandin, are always really interesting as well. So check out their website and see how you get on, but let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself then. So like I told you at the start of the video, this one is a 7% IPA. It's brewed with grapefruit, passion fruit, mango, raspberry and blueberry. So yeah, should be really interesting. Quick look at the artwork for you there. There you can see the Omnipollo symbol. There you can see Evil Twin as well. I'm not sure who it is on the front of this one actually. I had a little quick Google and I wasn't quite sure about that. I'm not sure if that's Jeppe Bjerso. It may well be, because it's not. It's definitely not Carl Grandin. It's definitely not Henrik Fenty, I think, either. I'm pretty sure it's not Carl Grandin actually. But it says on the side here, lemonade, a refreshing, nostalgic drink to others, a pop cultural symbol of female emancipation. Didn't know that about lemonade actually. Whatever the association, we teamed up with two Swedes, Henrik and Carl of Omnipollo, to squeeze out a tasty, tempting and deceivingly well balanced IPA with sweet and sour notes of old-fashioned memories. Brewed for Evil Twin Brewing by Dorchester Brewing Company, Boston, Massachusetts. So yeah, this one's brewed in Massachusetts over in America. So yeah, nicely presented beer, this one, as you always get from Evil Twin. This one is a little 300, is it a 330ml can, or is it one of these random American measurements? 33 centilitres, so yeah, 330ml. But yeah, so let's get it out and we'll get on with the tasting then. This one did seem to be highly rated as well. It was rated, I think, 90 overall on Rate Beer. Not the highest beer you're going to get, highest rated beer you're going to get from either Omnipollo or Evil Twin, but their beers are always interesting, so we'll just see how we get on. So yeah, as you can see with this one, it's poured. If I hold it up to the light, you can smell some of that nice fruit off. It's the passion fruits that are coming out of this one actually. But yeah, if I hold this up to the light, I would say it's a nice dark sort of red orangey colour. There's a solid finger of, I would say, a frothy, slightly pinkish white head on this one. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass there. Good few little ones heading up towards the bottom of the head. You really can smell some of those blueberry and raspberry notes coming out of this beer as well. It's got a nice sort of berryish fruit quality to it. If I stick my fingers behind the glass, you can see this beer is pretty damn hazy, but you know, you would expect that from a beer that's got a lot of fruit added to it. But yeah, it looks pretty nice actually. And as I say, one of the things I'm interested with this is I'm not sure where you draw the line between it being an IPA and being a fruit beer. So this is definitely one of these ones, I guess, that straddles this border. But on appearance, it looks very nice. Different kind of colour you'd normally expect from an IPA, more the colour you'd associate with a fruit beer. But let's take a closer look at the aroma and just see how we get on with this one then. Yeah. As soon as you go into the nose on this one, definitely the fruits. The kind of tart raspberries are sticking out of this one for me. The blueberries, you get that slightly juicier blueberry note from this one as well. You can smell the passion fruit under there. There's a little bit of that kind of dark, almost bitter smelling grapefruit coming out of it. You can pick up a little bit of that. Some nice sort of grassiness to the hops as well. I think I want to say there's a bit of mango in there, but did they actually add mango to it? Yeah, they did. You can definitely pick up the mango in the aroma of this beer as well. The passion fruit and the grapefruit are a little bit more in the background. The mango is kind of forming the front end of the aroma, I think, and the raspberries, there's a bit of the tartness from the raspberry on the end, and then you get the juiciness from the blueberries that they've added to the beer as well. So for me, that's how the fruits are coming out. The passion fruit and the grapefruit are in the background. The mango is sort of forming the linchpin, if you like. You get a bit of the tartness from the raspberry on the end, and some of the juiciness from the blueberries as well. You can pick out a little bit of grassiness from the hops in this one. I want to say there's a little bit of a bready, I don't know, not oaty. It's got a wheaty, white bready quality to it in the malt base, but there's not too much of that coming out. It really is dominated by the big, juicy, fruity aromas, and as I say, a little bit of that grassy hop. So yeah, more reminiscent of a fruit beer, this one, but you are getting a little bit of that grassiness that you might expect from the IPA in this one. But in terms of the aroma, big juicy fruits to this one. So just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of it yourself. As I say, when you open it up, it's the red fruits, the raspberries, sorry, and the blueberries that really jump out at you. But when you go closer into it, more of the mango starts to come out along with some of those grassy hops. I would be interested to know what hops they've used in this one actually to kind of accentuate it. I'd wonder if they've just done a sort of, you know, a bit of hop to give it a bit of bitterness, you know, like maybe Columbus or something like that, just a straight up bittering hop. I would be curious about that when it comes to this beer. But yeah, just take a little bit of time and enjoy that aroma before you get stuck in. But let's have a taste of this one. So this one is the Rainbownade, a collaboration beer between Evil Twin Brewing, a Danish gypsy brewery if you like, based over in America these days, and Omnipollo from Stockholm in Sweden. Let's get stuck into this one. Slanja, skål. Yeah. So, I mean, with this beer, it's not quite what I was expecting. I was expecting this one to be one of these kind of sour-leaning IPAs, but it's not quite that. Yeah, it tastes, I think this one is a beer that's going to take like a few sips and stuff to sort of open up really. When you take it in at the first time, it's kind of, you're just kind of like, right, okay, I know this is a beer, but I'm not sure exactly what it is, if that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it's one of the ones, what I would say about this beer straight up is this one, for me, I don't think this one is quite as strong as the pink lemonade one or the original lemonade that they did. This one for me kind of strikes me as having just a little bit too much going on in it, if that makes sense. Maybe they've just done one too many fruits or something like that. But when you go into the flavour of this one, really in the aftertaste, the grapefruit starts to push its way out, and that kind of dominates. You do get a little bit of the berries and things like that, the raspberries and the blueberries, but the grapefruit really starts to dominate, and it's got quite a dark sort of bitter taste on the end of it. But it does, you know, as you take more and more sips of this beer, it does open up a little bit more. So you can feel there's a little bit of a paleo malt to this one. There is that kind of nice bready base to it. And I don't think there's a, must be a, I wonder if there is a little touch of an oaty quality to it, maybe a little bit of biscuit in the malt base as well. The hops, there's not much going on in the way of hops in this one. I do wonder if they've used Columbus in this actually, because there's a little bit of that almost, it's got a little bit of that slightly almost curryish spice to it, which you can sometimes get from Columbus. On the back corners of the palate, a little bit of earthiness, like I say. As you come further forward along the edge of the tongue, there's a little bit of a herbal quality in there, but then it becomes a little bit more spicy and floral, and like I was saying, there is this almost kind of curryish spice to the hop thing. It does have a good little bit of IBU to it, this beer. And then when you go behind the front curve of the palate, there's a little touch of fruitiness in there. But for me, the grapefruits, as you go further and further into the aftertaste with this one, the grapefruit, that sort of dark, slightly bitterish flavour from the grapefruits starts to dominate this one, and it really lingers into the aftertaste actually. But yeah, it's interesting that, but as I say, I'm not sure I would prefer this one over the kind of original lemonade beer, if you like, or the or you know, the pink lemonade one that they did before. I really quite liked both of those. This one for me, I think it has, in terms of the fruity side of the beer, it just has a little bit too much going on, I think, and the grapefruit dominates a little bit too much. I think this beer would maybe be one that would work a little bit better if you just took the grapefruit out of it and let the other fruits do their thing. I think that would be the sort of one, but I guess in a way you can see why they've gone for the grapefruit, you know, they're sort of going for all the colours of the rainbow, if you like. But I think in terms of the beer, I think the grapefruit just dominates this one a little bit too much. When you're saying, yeah, grapefruit, passion fruit, mango, raspberry and blueberry, I think grapefruit is such an overpowering fruit, if you like. I think it's quite difficult to balance that out. And you know, grapefruit IPAs, if you know you're buying a grapefruit IPA, then you kind of know what to expect. But when you've got, when it's listed there that it's got other fruits in it, you do want them to have a little bit more prominence. I think the grapefruit, in the aftertaste for me, it just dominates a little bit too much. In fairness to it, you do get the other fruits early on in the taste. You get the mangoes there on the front of your tongue. One of the things, as I always say, when you add fruit to the beer, it's around the edge of the palate. It takes away some of that, they kind of nullify, if you like, a little bit some of the IBUs of the beer, because the fruits, when you add fruit kind of puree and stuff to the beer, I always find that it kind of just nullifies a little bit of the hoppy bitterness which comes out on the edge of your palate. And for me, you can detect a little bit of that. The grapefruit is kind of lingering on the edge of your tongue, but it's also behind the front curve of your palate as well. The passion fruit, I think, there's a little bit of presence from it there mixing with the grapefruit. The passion fruit does have a little bit of that slightly darker quality to it as well, that slightly dark bitterness, but the grapefruit for me just really dominates the flavour. You get a little bit of the berries in the beginning as well, but they soon kind of fade away. On the edge of your tongue you can pick out the blueberries. The tartness of the raspberries kind of fades away quite quickly, I think. Yeah, you get a bit of the tartness of the raspberries early on, and that fades away, and it's the juicy blueberries that kind of sit there on the very edge of your tongue. The mangoes in this one, as I say, sort of, they're there early on, but then it just fades away, and the passion fruit fades away as well, just for that kind of grapefruit to linger there with this one. I mean, there's nice flavours in this beer, you do get the fruits at different points, but for me, I just think the grapefruit is a little too prominent in this one, when you've got those other fruits there, and that's one of the things, as I say, I think you have to watch with grapefruit. If you like grapefruit, I think you'll really enjoy this beer, but if you're expecting the other ones, if you've bought this beer on the basis of the other fruits, they do take a little bit of a back seat. I don't think this is the strongest one in the series that they've done. There's nothing wrong with it, I would say, but just be aware it is more of a kind of grapefruit beer, this, I think, than anything else. But yeah, nothing wrong with the beer at all, and as I say, I think this one is definitely one of the ones that it would fit more into the fruit beer category for me, this, than it would into the IPA. But overall, decent beer, but I think I would expect, the way it's labelled, I would expect a little bit more from the other fruits in this one. So in terms of the mouthfeel then, mid-bodied, carbonation's quite smooth, quite an oily mouthfeel to it, this one, I would say. A little bit of sweetness from the malts, but overall the malt base is quite smooth. Good bit of juicy fruit in this one. As I say, the grapefruit dominates, a little bit of bitterness from the hops, but overall, as I say, this one I think isn't one of the stronger ones that's come out of this sort of lemonade series that they've done. It is quite dominated by the grapefruit, which you wouldn't want when you consider the way it's labelled, if you like. But an interesting enough beer. I was glad that I was able to try it. This was one of the small partiers that we got, of course, on the 17th of August, so have a go at it for yourself and see what you think, and as always, let me know in the comment section below. But yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. So this was the Rainbownade, an IPA brewed with grapefruit, passion fruit, mangoes, raspberries and blueberries from Evil Twin Brewing, a collaboration with Omnipollo, of course, from Stockholm in Sweden. Interesting beer. You'll like this one if you like grapefruit, and I think that's a good way to kind of sum it up. But I would expect a little bit more from it in terms of the other fruits that it's got. I would recommend that they take the grapefruit out of this one, and you know, for their next brew, if they do it again, I think the grapefruit just dominates a little bit too much. But an interesting enough beer. Have a go at it for yourself, and I'll see you next time. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Omnipollo and Evil Twin, of course, as well. You will see me review more from both of those breweries in the near future. But thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. Until the next time, it's Landry just now, and I will catch you guys later. The Rainbownade from Omnipollo in Stockholm in Sweden, and Evil Twin Brewing, who are a sort of Danish-American gypsy brewery. Slange just now, and I'll catch you guys later. Skål.